cold, clammy, claustrophobic. What a jolly festive combination of words to surmise this holiday season's scariest game. The Callisto Protocol is coming out real soon, like next Friday soon. In fact, and if you've been following my channel the past few months, I have talked about this game no small amount of times. I am happy to announce that I will be giving away a digital copy of this game in a giveaway for the Callisto Protocol. And all you gotta do is hit that link in the description and you'll be on your merry way to entering into the giveaway. Anyone from around the world can enter, as I don't care how far you are away from me, you will get this game should you win the giveaway. The giveaway starts today, November 23rd, and will last 1 week, ending the end of the day next Wednesday, November 30th at 11:59 p.m. EST. That gives you 1 week to enter, good people. The winner will get an email directly from me to confirm their platform of choice and all that good information. So pay attention to your inboxes later next week to see if you were the lucky winner. Remember, to participate, you gotta hit that link in the description, good people. Alright, with that out of the way, let's discuss why you are not going to want to miss this highly anticipated survival horror game. Without going into too much of the game's storyline, as you can view that here by clicking on this card on your screen, the story follows protagonist Jacob Lee, a prisoner of Black Iron, a massive, sprawling prison colony on Callisto, noted as a dead moon orbiting Jupiter. Callisto is referred to as a dead moon, namely to reinforce the extremely harsh blizzards and lack of quality access to sustained life. Well, long story short, a deadly alien-like invasion spreads all over Black Iron Prison and its surrounding areas on the surface of Callisto, and it is your job as Jacob Lee to essentially get the out of there. Along the way, Jacob comes across members of a resistance group staving off the virus, and other people, friend or foe, as they deal with the realities of an ever-increasing threat of the Biophages. Yes, good people, the Biophages are the monsters we are facing off against. These gruesome, wet, clammy creatures are the main problem we have to contend with, and they are ever so interested in eating or clawing their way through you as if you were a perfectly spiced Thanksgiving apple pie. Or stuffed turkey, for that matter. This game is brought to us by the masterful minds behind the Dead Space series, helmed by industry leader Glenn Schofield and a massive team of talent from the very games that instilled upon us that outer space horror back on the PS3 and Xbox 360 days. But now they are back under a new name at Striking Distance Studios, hell-bent on delivering the scariest game to conceive the latest hardware. From what the critics are saying, and by glancing at this gameplay footage, it isn't hard to see the traces of its inspirations of Dead Space scattered throughout here. But I am here to tell you that as similar as these two franchises seem to be, there are some key differences that highlight the Callisto Protocol's appetite to scare us in ways we never had to face before. The enemies in the Callisto Protocol, the Biophages, are absolutely ruthless and are perhaps the most aggressive enemies we have seen from survival horror games in quite a long while. These mutants will get right up in your face, and if you thought your variety of firearms were the right tools to be used here to fend them off, well, you'd be wrong, and be made mincemeat for thinking that. Players are forced to get up and close in the faces and contorted bodies of these creatures to inflict a series of blunt strikes with Jacob's trusty stun baton, all the while performing quick dodges to get out of harm's way. This game is brutal, so much so that many previewers claim to have died over and over again, realizing that perhaps the most important way to fight off these creatures is to forget about the guns in some instances and just go in fearless, wailing away with some well-timed strikes and dodges to thin the pack. Guns are vital to the game, but coming into this experience with the expectation of playing it like a Resident Evil game or previous Dead Space game may very well leave you as a Thanksgiving turkey with its stuffing gouged out. The firearms are used for well-placed shots to rid those enemies of their tentacles and limbs, trying to prevent these monsters from morphing into more powerful enemies in the process. Players do have access to upgrade their equipment, including their firearms throughout the game, so there is progression to be had here. Jacob also has a tool called the Grip, which acts as a telekinesis ability similar to Dead Space, where the player can pick up and throw objects or enemies via telekinesis. All these tools are very useful for the player, since ammo and resources for your firearms are said to be quite scarce, further incentivizing melee combat. Next, we've got plenty of previewers who have played certain bits of the game, and what they have to say gives us some interesting insight into the game's difficulty. To summarize what these previewers have played during the game, they were limited to a very specific section of the game that took place within the prison colony Black Iron and didn't get to experience much of anything in the way of the game's stealth combat, which is a key component that was focused on heavily in August's gameplay trailer. You can watch a video I made about that here in this card, going over all the new features we were shown in August's gameplay trailer. Instead, the previewers were tasked with going through some very claustrophobic spaces within Black Iron, unlike some of the more open areas that are said to be in the game. These spaces require the player to be hyper-aggressive with the enemies, as more often than not, trying to keep your distance could spell your death, with biophages able to surprise you at a moment's notice, and with death traps littered about the environments. As such, those who have played these sections believe this game to be quite challenging, as these mutant creatures do everything they can and with impressive speed to get their hands on you. Striking back with melee is considered the way to go in these tight corridors, and perhaps the use of firearms and stealth combat would be the better option reserved for the more open areas. Lastly, let's talk about console performance. Thankfully, the team at Striking Distance Studios, who are the developers of the Callisto Protocol, have confirmed that there is indeed a performance mode for those on the PS5 and the Xbox Series X consoles. PC players should have no problem running the game should their specifications accommodate the desired settings. Players were understandably a bit concerned when most of the gameplay shown here for the game had been taken from the PS5 version, featuring admittedly beautiful yet frightening graphics with the game running at around 30 FPS. The bottom line, don't worry. If you are playing on Sony's or Microsoft's current gen consoles, you will have the option to run the game at a smooth 60 frames per second if you so desire, as that seems to be the industry standard these days, unlike a certain game here. That being said, additional bells and whistles do seem to head over to the PS5 version of the game, namely in terms of immersing the player with the DualSense controller. Jacob's heartbeat can be realistically felt as it is pumped into the controller with disturbing realism, as are his footsteps and the flesh you pound through the biophages. Whispers and creaks can be heard from the controller speakers, further heightening that immersion. It looks like the Callisto Protocol is truly daring to usher in a terrifying, bone-chilling new horror game onto modern hardware, and it convincingly looks like Striking Distance are on the right path. Thankfully, we don't have to wait long at all, and as a reminder to you all before I wrap this up, go ahead and enter the giveaway. Doing events like this on my channel is my way to give back to all you awesome people for supporting the growth of this channel, and for that, I am grateful and enjoy giving back. It is the holiday season after all, so please, I'll shut up, but go enter the giveaway, and I hope you give this game a shot. A lot of heart has been put into this, and I'd like to see something like this do well so we can get more games like this in the future. Thank you so much for all the support, good people. As always, smash that like button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to the channel if you loved it. View this video here for more information regarding the Callisto Protocol, and I look forward to seeing you in Friday's video. Peace!